ladies and gentlemen, there's a truth that many people spend their whole lives avoiding not because it's cruel, but because it's uncomfortable. It's the truth that nobody is going to do the work for you. Nobody owes you anything. And no matter how much pain you carry, how unfair the world has been, or how many times life knocked you down, nobody cares. Until you win. So what do you do with that? You work harder. That phrase, nobody cares. Work harder might sound cold at first. But if you lean into it, if you really listen to what it's offering, it becomes one of the most freeing things you'll ever hear. Because once you stop waiting for the world to hand you a break, you start becoming the person who creates their own. And that changes everything. You see, personal accountability is not about blaming yourself. It's about empowering yourself. When you take full ownership of your life, your habits, your mindset, your energy, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being a creator of results. That shift is where strength is born. No more pointing fingers. No more waiting. You stand up and you say, "This is my life, and I refuse to waste it waiting for validation." The world is loud with opinions, but silent when you struggle. Most people won't see the nights you cried in silence, the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed, or the weight you carry behind that smile. But if you want to be great, truly great, you cannot live for applause. You must live for progress. You must learn to clap for yourself. In rooms where no one else does, that's where real character is forged. We all want empathy. We all want to be understood. But the truth is, people respond to what you deliver, not what you intended, not what you almost did. They respect what you execute. Life doesn't reward you for effort. It rewards you for outcomes. And if you're going to make a mark, you have to rise above the noise of your own excuses. It's not about pretending things are easy. It's about refusing to let difficulty define you. And yes, pain is real. Life will throw things at you that you didn't ask or didn't expect and didn't deserve. But pain is not your prison. It's your proving ground. The world might not care about your pain, but it will notice what you build from it. Don't let your hardships make you hard. Let them make you relentless. Most of your growth will happen in silence. While others sleep, you'll be grinding. While they scroll, you'll be studying. While they doubt you, you'll be doubling down on your dreams. You won't get instant praise. You won't always feel seen. But that's okay, because resilience is built in the shadows. And when your moment finally comes, you'll know you didn't get there by chance. You earned it. You bled for it. You worked for it. So, no, nobody cares, not at first. But that's not something to mourn. It's something to rise from. Because when you stop needing sympathy and start cultivating strength, everything changes. You become unstoppable, not because life got easier, but because you got tougher, wiser, and more determined than ever before. And when you win, and you will, the same people who once overlooked you will ask how you did it. You'll smile, and you'll say, "I stopped waiting. I worked harder." There is a moment in every person's life when they realize no one is coming to save them. No mentor, no partner, no perfect opportunity is going to appear out of nowhere and suddenly make everything easier. That moment, though painful, is also powerful. Because what it really means is this: you have everything you need already within you. The shift begins when you stop waiting for someone else to fix your life, and instead you take ownership of it. Personal accountability is not about guilt or blame. It's not about criticizing yourself for what went wrong. It's about stepping into the truth that your choices shape your reality. That even in the midst of difficulty, you still have the power to choose your response, to show up with courage, and to make decisions that lead you closer to the life you want. That kind of ownership is rare, but it is where greatness begins. Many people live on autopilot, reacting to life as it comes, feeling defeated when things don't go their way. They blame the economy, their childhood, their circumstances, or other people. But the people who rise, the ones who change their lives and inspire others, they don't use those things as reasons to quit. They use them as fuel to keep going. They understand that while they may not be responsible for everything that happens to them, they are absolutely responsible for how they respond. That's the beauty of accountability. It hands the power back to you. It says, yes, life is unfair sometimes. Yes, you faced setbacks, but you are still in the driver's seat. And once you believe that not just intellectually, but emotionally you stop playing small. You stop wasting time waiting for ideal conditions. You become the person who shows up, no matter what. Now, let's be honest. Taking accountability isn't glamorous. It means admitting when you've been distracted. It means recognizing that your current habits may not be aligned with your highest goals. It means being brutally honest about the gap between where you are and where you want to be. That kind of truth is hard, but it's also what sets you free. When you blame the outside world, you stay stuck. When you take responsibility, you unlock the ability to change. That doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. It just means you're willing to seek them. You're willing to do the work. Ask for help when needed, and keep moving forward even when it's slow, even when no one is watching, even when it hurts. And here's the thing, nobody is accountable 100% of the time. You will have moments where you slip, where you fall into old patterns, where you feel like giving up. That's human. What matters is what you do next. Accountability is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about coming back to your power again and again, no matter how many times life tries to pull it away. So when you hear the phrase, "nobody cares, work harder," don't hear it as judgment. Hear it as an invitation to take your life into your own hands, to stop waiting for someone to fix it, to stop expecting others to understand your vision more than you do. Your goals, your dreams, your future, they are your responsibility. And that is a beautiful, liberating truth. Because once you start taking full ownership, you stop being a prisoner of your past and start becoming the architect of your future. And in that moment, when you choose to rise instead of retreat, you step into a kind of power that no one can take from you. In a world full of noise, distractions, and endless talking, one thing still holds true: action is louder than anything else. Results are the real language the world listens to. It doesn't matter what you intended to do, what you plan to start, or how hard your circumstances have been. At the end of the day, what people remember and what the world respects is what you actually deliver. We live in a time where everyone has a story, and many of those stories are valid. People are struggling. People are hurting. And yes, life can be incredibly unfair. But while your pain is real, your excuses will never carry the weight your results will. The harsh truth is that the world doesn't stop turning because you're tired or because things didn't go your way. Life goes on. And if you want to grow, if you want to rise, you can't afford to let excuses become your identity. Let me be clear, this is not about being heartless. It's not about ignoring trauma or pretending things are easy. This is about being honest with yourself. You can honor your journey and still hold yourself to a higher standard. You can acknowledge your struggles and still refuse to let them define your future. The key is learning to separate your story from your standard. Your story might be painful, but your standard must remain powerful. People won't always see the battles you fought. They may never fully understand the weight you carry, but they will see what you produce. They will see the results of your discipline or the consequences of your distractions. The scoreboard doesn't lie. If you didn't show up, if you didn't finish, if you didn't follow through, that's what the world responds to. Not because it's cold, but because it's built on outcomes. And you have to decide what matters more, being understood or being effective. Yes, it would be great if everyone knew what you're going through. Yes, it would be nice if people could feel the weight of your effort. But sometimes they won't. And you have to be okay with that, because your success can't depend on applause. It must depend on your commitment to the work, to the mission, to the vision you have for your life. You see, there's a shift that happens when you stop trying to explain yourself and start focusing on execution. You stop waiting for people to cheer you on. You stop needing sympathy. You simply show up quietly, consistently, and let your work speak. And eventually, it will speak loudly. Because when results begin to show, no one can deny them. People may question your methods, your personality, or your past, but they cannot argue with your outcomes. So, if you're not where you want to be, don't waste time making excuses. Don't spend another day explaining why things are hard. We know they're hard. What matters now is what you're willing to do in spite of that. What habits will you build? What sacrifices will you make? What standards will you hold yourself to, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching? You want to win? Then show up every day without needing a round of applause, without waiting for perfect conditions. Because success belongs to the ones who are willing to do the work without needing constant reassurance. Let your results become your voice. Let your discipline become your legacy. And let your life become living proof that no excuse is stronger than a person who refuses to quit. Because in the end, talk fades. Sympathy fades. But results? Results echo. Pain has a way of finding all of us. No matter your background, your ambitions, or how careful you try to be, pain will visit your life. It might come through failure. It might come through rejection. It might come through loss or betrayal. And when it hits, it can feel like the ground underneath you has cracked. It can feel like something inside you has broken. But here's what most people never tell you. Pain isn't here to destroy you. It's here to transform you. See, pain can do one of two things. It can become your prison, or it can become your power. It can become the excuse you use for why you stayed stuck, or the reason you fought harder to rise. The choice is always yours. The pain you carry is real, yes, but it is not a crutch. It's not meant to keep you limping through life full of resentment and regret. It's meant to ignite something within you, something fierce, something focused, something unshakable. The most resilient people you'll ever meet aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who learned to turn their wounds into wisdom. They didn't pretend everything was fine. They felt it. They faced it, and they chose to rise anyway. They didn't let pain define their future. They let it refine their strength. And that's the lesson we all have to learn. Pain isn't an excuse to quit. It's an invitation to evolve. You have to stop telling yourself the story that because something hurt you, you can't move forward. That because you were abandoned, you can't trust again. That because you failed once, you're not meant to succeed. These are lies pain whispers when we're at our lowest. But they only have power if we believe them. The truth is, your pain can teach you what ease never could. It can teach you about grit, about compassion, about what you're truly capable of when everything else is stripped away. There's a certain clarity that pain brings. It shows you what matters. It reveals what's real. It strips away distractions and forces you to face yourself. And while that process is uncomfortable, even brutal, it's also sacred. Because in those moments of quiet suffering, when no one sees your tears and no one hears your prayers, you are being shaped. You are being stretched. You are being strengthened. But you have to participate in that process. You can't just sit in your pain and expect it to do the work for you. Growth doesn't come from pain alone. It comes from how you respond to that pain. Do you bury it? Do you numb it? Or do you use it as a catalyst? Do you let it light a fire in you to be better? To live louder? To love deeper? To show the world that what tried to break you only built you? Some of the greatest stories of human triumph began with deep personal pain. People who were overlooked, counted out, pushed aside, they used the fire of their hardship to fuel their purpose. And you can too. But you must stop identifying with the wound and start identifying with the warrior. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become in the aftermath of what happened to you. Don't let pain be the reason you stay small. Let it be the reason you fight for something bigger. Let it teach you how strong you really are. Let it reveal the deeper parts of you, the parts you didn't even know existed until you had no choice but to dig deeper. Pain isn't a life sentence. It's a message. And if you listen closely, it's saying you were made for more. We live in a world that celebrates visibility. Likes, followers, applause. They've become the modern currency of success. But what the world doesn't see, and often forgets to talk about, is where real success is born. It isn't born in the spotlight. It isn't born on stage or during the awards or when the camera turns on. Real success, lasting success, is built in silence, in solitude, and in the shadows when no one's watching. Resilience doesn't come from being celebrated. It comes from being challenged. It comes from showing up when you're tired, from pushing through when there's no guarantee of recognition. It comes from those early mornings and late nights when you feel like giving up, but instead you dig a little deeper. That's where your strength is being forged, not when everything is going right, but when you keep going in spite of everything going wrong. Too many people wait to be seen before they start showing up. They wait to be acknowledged before they start putting in the real work. But here's the truth. If you only perform when the lights are on, you'll never develop the depth needed to shine when it matters most. Champions are made in practice, not on game day. Writers are made in the drafts nobody reads. Entrepreneurs are built in the months when revenue is zero and belief is the only thing left in the bank. What separates those who succeed from those who almost do isn't talent, it's tenacity. It's the ability to endure the unseen seasons with discipline and focus, when there's no applause, no encouragement, no certainty, just vision, just effort. Just a quiet decision repeated daily. I will not give up. That's resilience. And you can't buy it. You can't fake it. You have to build it one unseen step at a time. You might be in that season right now, working in silence, dreaming in the dark, doubting yourself more days than you care to admit. And maybe it feels like no one notices. Maybe it feels like what you're doing doesn't matter. But I promise you, it does. Because every brick you lay today, in private, becomes the foundation that holds the weight of your future success. And when your time comes when people finally see the results, the transformation, The impact, they'll call it overnight success. But you'll know. You'll know it wasn't overnight. It was early mornings when you didn't feel like it. It was silent prayers and quiet tears. It was relentless effort on days you wanted to quit. You'll know that everything they're applauding now was earned in the shadows they never saw. That's why you must stay committed, even when it's lonely, especially when it's lonely. Because loneliness is often a sign you're on a path few are willing to walk. And the truth is, the spotlight doesn't make you stronger. It only reveals the strength you built in private. So protect your quiet season. Respect your unseen progress. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone right now. You just have to keep moving forward. Your pace doesn't have to be perfect. Your path doesn't have to be clear, but your heart, it has to be all in. Every moment you invest, every time you say no to comfort and yes to growth, you are building something powerful, something unshakable, something that will stand the test of time. And when the world finally sees what you built, they'll be inspired not just by what you've achieved, but by what you endured to get there. Resilience is not built for the crowd. It's built in the quiet places when it's just you, your effort, and your dream. Keep going, even if no one claps. One day, they'll see. And more importantly, you'll know. Ladies and gentlemen, when all is said and done, the message is simple but not easy. Nobody owes you anything, but you owe yourself everything. You owe it to yourself to stop waiting, to stop blaming, to stop hiding behind stories that no longer serve the person you're trying to become. Yes, life is unfair. Yes, the odds might be stacked against you. And yes, you have every reason to slow down, to shrink back, to make excuses. But you also have one reason not to, and that reason is you. Your future, your calling, your inner fire that refuses to be extinguished. No one may see how hard you're working. No one may understand how heavy the load has been. But that's not what makes you valuable. What makes you valuable is that you keep going anyway. That you choose discipline over drama, ownership over excuses, and resilience over retreat. Let your pain make you deeper. Let your silence make you stronger. Let your results speak in rooms where your voice was once ignored. The harsh truth, nobody cares. But the beautiful truth, that doesn't matter. You care. And that's enough. Work harder, not because they're watching, but because your purpose is worth it. Keep showing up in the shadows, building your strength, earning your story. And one day, when the world finally sees what you've become, they won't just see success, they'll see a survivor, a fighter, a finisher. And that, my friends, is the kind of legacy no one can take away from you. Thank you.